Lowdown. For Jeff Bird and Ernest Boker, I'm Steve Wilson. Well, Warren Central will be at Madison Central, and it's going to be a wild game on the artificial turf at Madison Central.
Yeah, Warren Central finally got their first win last week against Greenville. Great win for them, coming from behind after being ahead. But this one's a totally different animal. Greenville, obviously not quite as good as Madison, and Madison also does the one thing Warren Central can't stop, which is run the ball. Madison very effective with the option game. It's going to cause a lot of problems for Warren Central.
Well, the Vikings got a great performance out of Chase Ladd and Corey Davis. Corey Davis, 216 receiving yards on only 5 catches.
Yeah, great night. And that's something that they've had really click in the last couple games. 2 straight 100-yard receiving games for Corey. They found a little bit of an identity there. It's obviously going to be a little tougher against Madison Central with their skilled defense. But they seem to be able to throw the ball a little bit, and if they can't run the ball, then maybe that's something that they need to look at doing a little more.
Well, Vicksburg will be at Greenville Weston, and if Greenville Weston comes out with that cover zero defense like they did against Warren Central, Cameron Cooksey could have a night for the ages.
He had one already because from what we found out on Max Preps, the 48 completions, the 68 attempts, that is the national best this year. And it's also the state best with the 569 yards. It was an amazing performance.
Well, obviously, as a quarterback, you got to have targets to throw to. Mm-hmm. And he's got 3 really top-flight ones.
Don't forget about Dylan Reed. He had 2 catches, and they actually threw out of the backfield to Jonathan Tanner and Darius Youngblood as well. But A.J. Stamps, 19 catches, 285 yards. Is the new Warren County record. That record has been held since 1973 by Michael Sweet. And before then, the number 2 performance was 1928. That's how historic that game was.
Well, Greenville Weston, they like to bring the heat, so Vicksburg's offensive line is definitely going to have to be ready to handle a lot of blitzes.
Well, last week they played without Norman Price. He was out with a knee strain. They had Tyler in the tackle. He played a very excellent game, and they may move Jeremy Hill to guard and just have a big front line. So I know the strength of Greenville is their running game with Greg Foster. He had a real good game against Warren Central. The quarterback can throw it a little bit. He's about 600 yards. So the defense is going to have another tough test.
Well, St. Aloysius will be taking a trip to the coast to play a region game at Resurrection. And it's a weird Saturday game.
Yeah, some stadium sharing issues down there on the coast. St. Al, this is a game that they can win. They really need to win to find some kind of success this season. It hasn't been a great year. But it's a chance to salvage something and maybe start a nice little stretch run here.
Well, with 4 weeks left in the season, there's 1 week you know that they're not going to get a loss. The good old-fashioned bye week, but they got Stringer, Mount Olive, and, of course, Boca Chitto.
And St. Al, it's obviously a tough stretch down the road, but they played tough last week against a good Cathedral team. Really, even though they lost 20-0, it sounds weird, but it's a game that they could have won. They had a lot of mistakes down in Cathedral territory, turned the ball over in their own territory a couple times, got stopped at the goal line twice. It easily could have been a 21-14, 21-21 game going into the fourth quarter. So if they can bring that intensity this week, then they should be able to come out on top.
Well, PCA will be at Silva Bay, and this pretty much wraps up a 3-game non-district slate for PCA.
PCA is trying to get healthy, and this is a good opportunity to do that right now. Silva Bay got beat by Central Hines last week. They're not as good as they've been in the last couple of years. The best players gone on to Ole Miss, and it's a chance for the Eagles to shine before they get ready for Heidelberg, a big game with Heidelberg next week.
Well, you got 2 big games, not only the Heidelberg game, but the Prentice Christian game. If they can win those 2, they could possibly pop up to second in that district and host a first-round playoff game.
Yes, right now they're matched up with the South Division from Louisiana, and like I said, if they're 3-4, they're going to have to be on the road. Number 2, they get the home, and it's a big difference in that division because I noticed the top 3 teams all have winning records, and the bottom 3 you can have a chance at.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of High School Lowdown. For Jeff Bird and Ernest Boker, I'm Steve Wilson. Check out our sports section and check out all the happenings online at VicksburgPost.com.